Have you ever imagined encountering creatures so mysterious that even modern science cannot explain them? Get ready to discover the 10 most enigmatic beings of the Bible. These beings are surrounded by mystery, power, and a heavenly story that goes beyond what we know. From elders who rule alongside God to supernatural creatures with incomprehensible powers, this video will challenge your understanding of reality. Stay until the end, because we will reveal a biblical secret that may change your perception of the spiritual world forever. Shall we dive into this journey together? Think for an instant of being transported to the deepest of the heavenly realms, a place where light seems to come from all sides, radiating an indescribable glory. At the center of this vision, God's throne rises, but around it in perfect arrangement are 24 other thrones, and on them sit the number 1 of the Bible's most mysterious beings, silent and mysterious figures, the 24 elders. Each one wears robes as white as snow, their golden crowns shining with a brilliance that outshines any earthly comparison. But who are these figures? Why are they positioned so close to the main throne? Revelation only gives us glimpses of this mystery, allowing us to perceive that these elders play a crucial role in the heavenly kingdom. Revelation 4 verse 4 reveals to us, around the throne were 24 thrones, and on the thrones I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white robes, and they had crowns of gold on their heads. Some say they are the spiritual leaders of God's people. Others believe they represent believers who will reign with Christ. But the truth, like their identities, remains shrouded in mystery. These elders, who remain silent most of the time, suddenly rise in a moment of profound reverence. They prostrate themselves before the throne, cast their golden crowns at the Lord's feet, and declare with a voice that echoes throughout eternity, as Revelation 4, verse 11 says, "You are worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power. For you created all things, and by your will they exist and were created." This gesture, so simple yet so powerful, reflects a greater truth. No matter how high your status, before God, all things surrender. The elders recognize that everything they have, including their victory crowns, comes solely from God. At that moment, the silence in heaven is broken by worship that transcends any human understanding. But this is just the beginning of the journey. For in the midst of this extraordinary vision, something even more intriguing captures our attention. The second most mysterious being in the Bible, Ezekiel's wheels, described with a level of detail that seems to defy our understanding. These wheels are much more than mere structures. Ezekiel tells us that they move in any direction without ever needing to turn. And as if that weren't enough to leave anyone perplexed, he also mentions that these wheels are full of eyes that see everything, that know every detail of creation. We are not talking about simple mechanisms of a chariot. We are facing something far more complex, something that carries the omniscience of God, as Ezekiel 1 verses 15 to 21 reveals to us. "As I looked at the living creatures, behold, there was a wheel on the earth beside each living creature with its 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their workings was like the color of beryl, and all 4 had the same likeness. The appearance of their workings was, as it were, a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they moved, they went toward any one of 4 directions. They did not turn aside when they went. As for their rims, they were so high they were awesome, and their rims were full of eyes all around the 4 of them. When the living creatures went, the wheels went beside them, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Wherever the Spirit wanted to go, they went, because there the Spirit went, and the wheels were lifted together with them, for the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When those went, these went. When those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up together with them, for the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. With each movement, these wheels accompany the cherubim, equally enigmatic beings, in a celestial dance that transcends our limited comprehension. Ezekiel describes a scene that seems both majestic and intimidating. The wheels, shining like precious stones, emanate a light that cuts through the sky, and the sound of their movement echoes like the roar of a crowd. As they move, the cherubim and the wheels act as one perfect unit, a physical reflection of God's own spirit, manifesting in every detail of this vision. The message is clear. God's power is absolute, constant, present in every corner of the universe. Nothing escapes his watchful eye. But as we dive into this scene, we are led to question, what do these wheels really symbolize? Do they represent divine control over the cosmos in all its vastness and complexity? Or are they a reminder that there is no place, no corner in creation that is beyond God's reach? Each of these elements, the 24 elders and Ezekiel's wheels, presents us with different facets of God's power and glory. They are pieces of a cosmic puzzle, a glimpse of the heavenly reality that we can barely begin to comprehend. And just when you think you've seen it all, when you feel these images have already stretched your mind to the limit, something even more colossal and incomprehensible emerges on the horizon. Visualize an impressive scene, a creature so colossal that its footprints shape the earth, its bones are described as tubes of bronze, and its strength unmatched. This is Behemoth, the number 3 of the Bible's most mysterious beings. Appearing in the book of Job, God challenges Job to face this beast, a monumental creation that seems to go beyond any human explanation. In Job 40 verses 15 to 24, it is revealed, "Behold now Behemoth, which I made as well as you, he eats grass like an ox. Behold now his strength is in his loins, and his power in the muscles of his belly. He bends his tail like a cedar, the sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs are like bars of iron. He is the first of the ways of God. Let his maker bring near his sword. Surely the mountains bring him food, and all the beasts of the field play there. He lies under the lotus plants, in the covert of the reeds and the marsh. The lotus plants cover him with shade, the willows of the brook surround him. Behold, if a river rages, he is not alarmed. He is confident, though the Jordan rushes to his mouth. Can anyone capture him when he is on watch? With barbs, can anyone pierce his nose? Behemoth is not a symbolic figure or an illustration. He is described with powerful muscles, a tail that moves like a cedar, and an insatiable appetite that dominates the fields. His presence is so impressive that only his creator can confront him. This being with his unparalleled stature is the greatest of God's creations. His presence inspires fear and reverence. And God makes a point of reminding Job that he, a mere man, could never compete with something so grand. And there's the point. Behemoth is not just a powerful creature, but also a symbol of man's smallness before divine creation. Every movement of this being echoes with divine power. His strength, a direct reflection of the magnitude of God's might. And if that doesn't make you feel the weight of creation, perhaps you haven't yet grasped the enormity of what this creature represents. But just when we think we've reached the limit of what is possible to imagine, another being emerges from the depths of chaos. The number 4 of the Bible's most mysterious beings, called Leviathan. In Isaiah 27 verse 1 we are told, "In that day the Lord will punish Leviathan the fleeing serpent, Leviathan the twisting serpent, and he will slay the dragon that is in the sea." This verse describes it as a swift serpent, a colossal dragon that rules the seas. Leviathan is not an ordinary beast. He is the personification of chaos. The Bible reveals that this gigantic being has a wild, almost uncontrollable power, and yet he is not beyond God's control. Psalm 104 verses 25 to 26 says, "This is the great and wide sea, in which are innumerable creeping things, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan which you have made to play therein." Here God is exalted as the creator of this monster's habitat, reinforcing that even Leviathan moves only according to the Lord's will. In Job 41 verse 1, it is described, "Can you draw out Leviathan with a hook, or snare his tongue with a line which you lower?" In this passage, we see God challenging Job again, now asking, "Can you catch Leviathan with a hook?" The answer, of course, is no. Leviathan cannot be tamed or captured by human hands. He is a force that defies civilization, a presence that terrifies the seas, but is completely under God's command. The very fact that God created something so fearsome only reinforces how he is the absolute sovereign over all things. Leviathan, with his flaming eyes and impenetrable scales, is a reminder of the grandeur of divine power. And so we see that as powerful as the forces of chaos may be, they never escape their creator's control. These two beings, Behemoth and Leviathan, are much more than simple creatures. They represent the forces of nature and chaos, both completely submissive to the Lord's command. While Behemoth dominates the land with his physical power, Leviathan reigns over the seas with his uncontrollable ferocity. And we, as mere observers, stand before these forces in awe of God's power over everything. However, even amidst these imposing creatures, there is something even more fascinating yet to come. On the horizon of reality, where the invisible meets the visible, imposing figures emerge, different from anything we can conceive. Before our eyes, the 5th most mysterious beings of the Bible arise, the cherubim, creatures that transcend our understanding. After the fall of Adam and Eve, these beings were entrusted with a mission that would forever shake human perception, to guard the way to the tree of life in Eden, as Genesis 3 verse 24 tells us. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. These cherubim are armed with flaming swords that turn in every direction. They stand as guardians of what is most sacred, impenetrable, untouchable. They are not there by chance. Their presence delineates the separation between the divine and the human, between what is pure and what has been tainted by sin. Every detail, every movement makes us realize the weight of transgression and how far the way back to paradise is without the Creator's permission. The cherubim, however, are not limited to protection. They are agents of God's presence, carrying the weight of divine glory in their actions. When the prophet Ezekiel describes them in Ezekiel 10 verse 12, he says they are covered with eyes and filled with immeasurable wisdom, supporting God's throne in perfect harmony. There is no margin for error. Their actions reflect divine perfection. They are like a direct extension of God's presence in creation, ensuring that nothing profane approaches what is holy. Their many eyes reveal that nothing escapes the Creator's vigilance, and their movements, coordinated with Ezekiel's wheels, seem to echo through eternity, as if they are always watching and always in action. When we understand the grandeur of their mission, we feel the weight of reverence we owe to the Lord. Above the cherubim, even closer to the throne, are the sixth most mysterious beings of the Bible, the seraphim. Isaiah 6 verse 2 describes them. Above it stood the seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, with 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. They cover their faces, not out of shame, but in reverence to a holiness that can never be directly seen. With their powerful voices, they proclaim a single message, repeated eternally. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of His glory. The impact of their words is not just symbolic. They literally shake the foundations of the heavenly temple, shaking the very structure of reality. They are beings that embody God's holiness, a constant reminder that the purity and glory of the Creator are immeasurable. Their repeated cries are echoes that remind us, with every word, of how far we are from this absolute holiness. They need nothing more than a sound to move heaven and earth. At the peak of tension, on the threshold between the sacred and the terrifying, emerges the most feared of all, the angel of death. He is the 7th most mysterious being of the Bible. His very name carries an indescribable weight. At the height of biblical history, during the last plague in Egypt, this angel was sent to bring a final and irrevocable judgment. In one night, the destroyer swept through Egypt, taking the lives of all the firstborn who were not protected by the blood of the Lamb, as Exodus 12 verses 29 to 30 recounts. The silence of the night was broken by cries of despair that echoed throughout the country, for there was no house among the Egyptians that had not been touched by death. The power of this angel is not allegorical or metaphorical. It is real and relentless. His mission was clear, his action unquestionable, and his execution exact. Yet at the same time, there was a promise of protection for those who had followed the divine command. The blood on the doors served as a sign, a barrier that the angel of death could not cross. Cherubim guard holiness, seraphim proclaim purity, and the angel of death executes judgment. Each of these beings reveals a different facet of God's nature: His absolute holiness, His undeniable presence, and His inescapable justice. But even in the presence of such powerful and fearsome beings, there is another mystery that arises, a presence even more enigmatic and profoundly impactful. Amidst the vastness of the divine universe, a figure emerges that, at first glance, seems to radiate incomparable light and majesty. Lucifer, the eighth most mysterious being of the Bible, the bearer of light, a being who once shone like the morning star, is described in Isaiah 14 verses 12 to 15 as follows. How you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning! How you are cut down to the ground, you who weakened the nations! For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation on the farthest sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the lowest depths of the pit. He who desired to rise above the stars of God, aspiring to the very throne of heaven, but his ascent was abruptly interrupted. The pride that grew within him became his downfall. The one who imagined himself at the top ended up falling, being cast down from heaven with force like a lightning bolt plummeting from the sky. Lucifer, the being of beauty and power, now transformed into Satan, the adversary, lives in eternal rebellion against the Creator. But he has never ceased to be a creature subject to God's command. This fall was not isolated. A third of the angels joined his rebellion, also being cast down with him. But what many do not know is that Lucifer did not lose his ability to deceive. He uses his former glory to deceive, manipulating the truth, using the world as the stage for his continuous rebellion against the Creator. Satan, now the leader of darkness, continues his attack on creation, seeking to distort everything that reflects God's glory. Alongside this fallen figure, the Bible presents us with a character shrouded in mystery. Here we find the ninth most mysterious being of the Bible, called Melchizedek. He appears out of nowhere, without genealogy, without prior history. When Abraham returns from a victorious battle, it is Melchizedek who blesses him, the priest of the Most High God. As described in Genesis 14, verses 18 to 20. And blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. He is the King of Salem, whose name means King of Peace. Yet his origin and destiny remain cloaked in shadows. Hebrews 7 verse 3 tells us, without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like the Son of God, remains a priest continually. A being without time, without beginning or end, pointing to something greater than we can comprehend. His presence in the biblical narrative is brief, but of incalculable impact. It is as if Melchizedek were a transitional figure between the physical and the spiritual world, carrying with him a priesthood that transcends time. While Lucifer leads a spiritual rebellion, Melchizedek presents us with an eternal peace, an echo of the priesthood that Christ would come to exercise. This duality, the rebellion of pride versus the reign of peace and justice, places the two characters at opposite ends of the spiritual spectrum. Yet both invite us to look beyond what is visible, to a realm where the conflict between good and evil transcends our understanding. And in the underworld of this conflict are the 10th most mysterious beings of the Bible, the demons, spiritual beings who walk in the shadows, tempting, corrupting, destroying. They are not just a legion of impersonal beings. They are figures that possess intelligence, will, and a clear mission to attack the image of God reflected in humanity. In the Gospel of Luke 8, verses 30 to 31, it tells us that Jesus encounters a man possessed by a legion of demons. When confronted, these evil spirits recognize Christ's authority and beg not to be cast into the abyss. The word legion is not a name. It is a statement of dominance, a symbol of how numerous and relentless these beings are. The demons, unlike Lucifer or Melchizedek, have no power over creation. They are deformed, being only shadows of what they once were. They attempt in every way to deform creation and disfigure God's image in man. But in Christ they encounter a power they cannot challenge. They know they are destined for the abyss, but until that day comes, they continue their work of destruction, manipulating and deceiving, seeking to bring chaos to what God has ordered. These figures, each with their role, their mission, and their story, weave a profound picture of the spiritual conflict that permeates the scriptures. We can understand that we have journeyed through the unknown. Before us a plot that connects forces beyond our comprehension. From the celestial glow of the 24 elders, with their crowns cast before the throne, to Ezekiel's mysterious wheels, spinning with eyes that see everything, we have witnessed the absolute reverence before the glory of God. What do these beings teach us? Perhaps that even the highest in heaven bows in complete submission to divine majesty. And then the beasts of the abyss, behemoth and leviathan, colossal creatures that dominate the scene of creation, remind us of the unshakable power that God possesses over everything. They are signs that even the most primitive forces, those that challenge our imagination, bow to the Creator's sovereignty. Nothing, neither the earth nor the seas, escapes his dominion. What can we take from this? The recognition that no matter how overwhelming the forces we encounter, they cannot compare to the power that shaped them. But we do not stop there. The vision elevates. Now we contemplate the cherubim, protectors of holiness, guardians of a lost paradise, whose movements are a dance of justice and zeal. Beside them, the seraphim, burning angels, cry out with voices that shake the foundations of the universe. Holy, holy, holy. There is no other place to flee from this truth. And then the angel of death, relentless, executing divine judgment, passing through every house in Egypt and distinguishing between those protected by the blood and those destined for ruin. All of this culminates in the tragic and grand figure of Lucifer, the one who dared to challenge the heavenly throne, only to be cast into the depths. His pride turned into downfall, his light extinguished by his ambition. In contrast, the enigmatic Melchizedek, the eternal priest, without beginning or end, who represents a peace and justice that transcend time and space. And finally, the demons, persistent shadows that seek to destroy the reflection of God in humanity, knowing that in the end, they too will be destroyed. These mysterious beings are not just symbolic figures, but realities that force us to confront the invisible. The Bible reveals these characters with details that intrigue, provoke, and above all, challenge our limited perception. Each of them, with their powers, their purpose, their story, points to something greater. God's absolute dominion over all things, visible and invisible. And as the enigma of these beings continues, what remains for us? Only one thing: the relentless pursuit of the truth that transcends human understanding. For as enigmatic as they are, these mysterious beings reveal to us a deeper and more imposing reality, one that lies beyond the stars and what we can see. And what more does this journey hold? Well, that is still to come. Making it this far is a true demonstration of dedication and faith. I want to congratulate you for staying with us until this moment in the video. Not everyone commits to exploring the deep mysteries of the Bible like you did today. Your search for knowledge is a reflection of your spiritual journey, and I am sure God is seeing your effort to get closer to the truth. But the journey does not end here. To continue growing in your faith and deepen your understanding even further, I recommend you watch the video 5 Supernatural Events That Shook the Earth After Jesus' Death. This video reveals incredible events that took place right after Christ's sacrifice, and it's the perfect continuation of everything we've discussed here. The link is in the card and also in the description of this video. Don't miss it. If you're not yet part of our family here on our channel, Kollobe Light of Faith, take this moment to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. This is crucial so that you don't miss any of our upcoming content. We're here to walk this journey together, and each subscriber is another step toward light and understanding. And of course, don't forget to give this video a blessed like. This helps a lot to spread this message to more people who need to hear about God's wonders. And I really want to know what you thought of this content. Leave a comment, share your reflections, your doubts, your faith. Your testimony can inspire others who are following us. Now I want to make a special request. Bless the souls of your friends, family, and everyone who needs to hear this message. Share this video with them. Together we can take God's word even further, touching lives and transforming hearts. Before we close, I invite you to choose one of the 2 videos that will appear on your screen and continue your faith journey. Each video is another step in your spiritual journey, so don't stop now. May God bless you powerfully. May He illuminate your path. And we'll meet again in the next video, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.